This is episode 77.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Helping you keep your finger firmly pressed on the decking industry, the people in it, and the information you need to master the backyard. And now, host of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, Shane Chapman.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Deck Podcast, episode 77. Holy smokes. And it took us...
Your hand's shaking.
This long.
Are you nervous?
I'm drinking a Bang energy drink at the same time as a Pile of Bones brew. It does things to you. And a whipped coffee back there. I'm jacked up. There's all sorts of things going on in my body right now. So, Wade LaFrance, Shane Chapman here today. We're live on the Instagram again, and you can see our guest is struggling to keep his camera straight there. There he is, and he's hiding his hair today. This doesn't even make sense. What's happening here?
Yeah.
So we're going to dial in the legend Paul LaFrance here shortly. Paul took 77 episodes to get on this podcast. Doesn't even make sense. But he's our guest today. But before we get to bringing Paul onto the line here in the podcast, we have some Simcoe news. So Wade, you've got this pre-prepared today. What's happening in Simcoe? Let's go. What's happening?
So there was this guy that he started a pasta restaurant in Simcoe. Here's a feel-good story in COVID era.
Okay.
Started
a pasta restaurant
during
pandemic.
Restaurant during the pandemic.
Called Pandemic Pasta.
And it's going off like gangbusters. I don't know that it's called Pandemic Pasta, but
he missed an opportunity.
Yeah, he certainly did. So that's a good news story, right? You open a restaurant, you're winning. Who wins at this time in a restaurant?
Finally, some good news out of Simcoe County.
They broke up a heroin ring, so that's good.
Also good news.
Take the heroin off the street, pasta's selling.
It wasn't operating in the back of the pasta place, was it?
Obviously.
Okay.
And the snowbirds did a flyby this week.
Over Barrie, Ontario?
Yes.
Okay.
Fun.
Good. Little people might not know the home of the snowbirds is here, down the road in Moose Jaw.
Like I could have
They fly by here all the time.
Yeah, but anyways. And they got snow today.
Snow today. So did Saskatoon.
Gross.
Anyway, that's great. That's the best news from Simcoe in quite some time.
So that's it.
Okay. Well, you might as well dial Paul in here.
Okay,
Let's
here we
get
go.
Paul brought into the show here because nobody wants to listen to us anymore.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to have his phone number forever.
Uh-oh. Good luck, Paul.
Okay.
Bringing Paul in.
Wow.
Simcoe news. I think Simcoe Dex is actually in here today. Yeah, we know. Listen, Sousa, we know Paul's here. We're making him wait, okay? You can't bring him on right out the start of the show. People are itching here to get some Paul.
Does this work right away?
It should work right away. You should be, you're going to give us questions as they come in. Is that right? Good.
Wait. Is that on? There it is. Oh, yeah.
Is this thing on?
All right, so I gotta switch to my headphones here.
Yeah, you're going to want to avoid speakerphone at all costs.
Yeah, I think so. Let's try my headphones here. This is the part where I haven't even been told that I was going to be on video. Here goes the hair. There we go.
There has to be some hair involved in here because there were some comments about your hair in the Instagram post we made.
I'm going to turn you down now. Just a little bit of expert in technology. You guys hear me now?
It's really muffled. Barely hear you.
And if I do that, no. I'm going to just turn the volume down. Let's try this.
There, that's better.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're
How's
talking.
that?
Now we're there. Here we go.
I can't see myself because it's telling me to comment, and I don't want to comment. I want to talk. I don't want to write stuff.
No, you don't have to write anything. The other people they'll do the writing.
The hair is unruly, so my cool hat's going back on.
Putting it back on.
There we go.
And it's long enough to
And
pull
it's
down over your
cold
eyes.
out here. It's cold, man.
Did you get snow in Toronto as well?
We had so I watched the snowfall last night, and it accumulated about 6 inches of snow where I am up here on Georgian Bay.
What? 6
Yeah,
inches of snow?
it was nuts.
You should move to Saskatchewan. It's
Holy
nicer
smoke.
here.
Yeah, the weather out here is beautiful.
Yeah, it's freaking freezing over here right now. Polar vortex, man. Love it in the outdoor world.
Yeah, exactly. So, Paul, you probably don't need much of an introduction for the people that listen to this podcast. It's all just a bunch of deck nerds. They probably know who you are. But you've done some TV stuff.
I'm not going to be hurt if they don't. No, I will. I will be hurt.
Yeah. Let's get started on this then. Why don't we tell everybody a little bit about Paul LaFrance, not the big celebrity HGTV guy, just like a little bit about Paul, the man.
Man-child, I prefer, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Gee, where do I begin? So do you want to go back to birth, or do you want me to skip a few stages?
Births are typically fairly exciting. Yeah. You can start there if you like.
Was it traumatic?
Just that my memory's a bit hazy on the whole thing. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
Did you come out with hair as good as you have now at birth? Because if so, start
Yeah,
there.
it came out. It was like this, except it was on my chest, and that really worried a lot of people at the time. So, yeah, that was a hard one to explain to the doctors in England, where I was born. Most people don't know that.
You were born in England.
I was born in Wimbledon, and but I suck at tennis, so there's irony for you.
Yeah.
And so I came over here when I was quite wee, and just kind of melded into the Canadian society that I now call home. So I mean, I've been here since before I was one. So don't hold that against me. But really, I'm truly a Scotsman, as that's the true me. But no one would ever believe that a man with the last name LaFrance would be a Scotsman. So they make me speak in this really kind of boring Canadian accent. So you know how it is. That's showbiz for you.
Right. You gotta add spice somehow, and maybe not the accent, right? So let's ask the obvious question first. You traveled here from England, I'm presumably by yourself at 6 months old. Parents?
I was alone.
Yeah, which is
yeah.
You used to be able to do that. You can't do that anymore, right? They took all the fun out of it. But where did your deck life start? How did you become a deck builder? Like before all the shows and all that stuff. I assume HGTV wasn't the first deck you ever built. So where did it all start?
So I started my company when I was like 20 years old. I just gotten married at the age of how old was I? 22. So it's kind of I was a high school dropout. I didn't realize I was an ADHD guy until many years later. And I did, but let's just say I was a real kind of and counterculture, question everything kind of person. I didn't pick up a circular saw until I was like 22 years old, man. Like I had never built anything in my life except for Lego. Very good at Lego. And so I got married. I was working at a bookstore because when you get married, this thing happens where we had like a mortgage. Have you heard of these things?
I've got one. I don't know much about it, but
I don't know either. I certainly knew less then. So there was this whole need to as a musician first and foremost. That's important to say. Having to get a job was ooh. So I was working in this bookstore, and
let's not underplay the fact that you actually got a mortgage as a musician. That's a feat in itself, is it not?
Yeah, I don't really know. There's a lot of scientists looking into how that actually happened.
Does your wife own the bank? Is that how that happened?
Yeah. No, she was just really cute. So I don't know. Maybe that's how we got. I don't know how it worked out. But so after working at this bookstore to pay this mortgage for got 22 years of age for almost a year. If you know me now and then try to picture me working in a bookstore, you'd understand why it was very frightening for the people I was working with. Because, it got to the point where I was eventually, driving by shoppers to pick up X-Lax to put in everybody's coffee just to break the monotony. And then I had a buddy show up one day and be like, why don't you come work for me? I have a fence and deck building company, on the west end of Toronto. And I was like, you could have told me, I have a job in a sewer, and the likelihood of you getting eaten by a crocodile is 99% of it. I'm in.
That would have made way better TV, just so you know. If you
could have good TV. So I ended up going. I remember showing up that day, and I remember it was old DeWalt tools, and I was like, "Ooh, they look like Tonka trucks. This looks like fun." And then you turn them on, and they make a bunch of noise. I'm like, "Oh, double trouble! I can cut things with this, including myself. So this is exciting." And so I remember loving it because I was building stuff with my hands and really excited about this new venture in life. Not excited about the fact I had to drive 2 hours in Toronto rush hour traffic to get to work because it was on the opposite side of the city. So after about 3 or 4 months of building the same fence, I was stopping off at Shoppers to buy the the laxative again because I was just like, this is boring me out of my mind. So then one day I went into the one particular backyard with the boss who could tell that I was getting a little squirrely, and he's like, "Well, come and build this deck with me in the backyard." And so I remember that's when I walked in. First, Paul LaFrance walking into the backyard of the first deck he's going to be a part of building, and that's when I looked around. I was like, the boring square box, man. Like, this is not what it's supposed to be. It could be so much more. And I remember giving my boss all of my creative ideas in one continuous, 4-minute long monologue run-on sentence.
Soliloquy.
And then he said to me, it was eloquent and passionate. And then he said, "Paul, please," I've heard this a lot since then, "please, for the love of all that is holy, stop talking."
Yeah, I pay you to haul stuff. Go to the truck and haul stuff back here. Okay.
Yeah, go get the board stretcher or something. And then I knew that wasn't going to be possible for me to stop talking. So shortly after that, I was like, well, I'm going to go quit. I'm just going to go start my own company, having no business training, no design training, the common sense of a small pony. And so I started, so that's when I started. It was originally cutting edge construction and design. It sounded like, I knew what I was doing, and which became Paul LaFrance Design because, I like to be vain. And so my greatest fear in life was being bored. I just didn't want to be bored. And so going in, I was learning building techniques on the fly, but hey, I was able to just use my 3 great skills. Lego, number one, big skill. I was very good at it, still am. Music, was able to tie my love of music into how I would build things because, musicians are, they can manipulate the world. And then people, I get a kick out of people. I always have, always will. I think I'm the only sane one. I think it's everyone else that needs to be looked at behind glass, in a rubber room. And then off it went. So, we started ending up putting people, I ended up kind of beating out the competition. And I didn't even know I was competing. As I said, I was just didn't want to be bored. So that's how the whole thing got started. TV didn't happen until 12 years later. I was just started this company, and I quickly became known as this creative deck guy. And I was just like, "Oh, thank you very much. I'm just building Lego with different blocks, man."
Yep. Yeah. That's awesome. So 12 years it took from the time you started your company until the first TV opportunity came. How did that come about? I'm assuming it wasn't just a TV executive drove by and was like, "Nice deck, want to be on TV?"
Actually close. So, all right, strangely enough, yeah. So I was, because I had kind of built this reputation of being a creative psychopath, I guess would be the way I would determine it. I ended up getting called in to do this breakfast television spot. And so you have to kind of remember, I spent a lot of time on stage as a lead singer, songwriter, band leader, frontman. So cameras and being worried about that was just never, that was never something that concerned me. I wasn't shy per se.
What kind of music did you play?
Blow your hair back, rock and roll, Tragically Hip, Our Lady Peace, love that kind of stuff. Big U2 fan as well. And so I ended up getting called in to do this. I don't know if you guys have it out there, but they would do these 24-hour miracle makeovers. So there was this some really run-down place. They won a contest. It was a curb appeal job, and they called me in. And so there's a whole bunch of other contractors there, and it was 24 hours. We're going to blitz the front of this place and just do this whole curb appeal thing. And they called me in to do this front porch / deck. And so they had siding guys there, window guys there, and landscapers, and then me. So I go in there and I built this crazy front porch / deck in 12 hours. And then next morning I'm on camera. So, camera crew shows up, and like Jennifer Valentine, very popular here in Toronto on City. She comes in and live camera. So everyone else is like, all these other contractors are there, like terrified. They look like deer caught in the headlights, So she's like, hey, what do you feel here? And these guys are like, we put in rocks and dirt. And she's like, ooh, fascinating. So I'm there in my leather jacket, leaning up against, my diamond slate inlay that I had done. I was very proud. And then Jennifer comes over. This guy looks interesting. And we do this interview. At that exact moment, this guy, like a very good friend of mine by the name of Mike Sheeran, who now is who created Architect Films out of this meeting, had just gotten back. You just can't make this stuff up. He just got back from like Afghanistan, doing a documentary on the Canadian troops on the ground in like Kandahar with like bullets flying over his head, and he just flew back going, I think I should get into something where I might not die. And he had never watched breakfast television before, and he just happened to get up that morning, turned it on, and boom, there I am. And he's like, man, that guy needs his own TV show. So he called my assistant the next day. A week later, we had coffee, and within 2 months, I'm sitting in like the HGTV buildings in Toronto, and they're like, how do you feel like being on television? I'm like, how do you feel about cotton candy? Like, this wasn't something I was, this wasn't something I was looking for. It wasn't something I was going after. So I was like, yeah, sure. Let's, life's a ride, man. Let's see what happens. And they thought that Decked Out was just going to be some, oh, there we go. I can see my face now. There we go. Something just happened. I hit the magic button. They thought that Decked Out was just going to be some nice little show, because at the time, Home and Garden Television was just mostly home and no garden. And they didn't expect, none of us expected that this show would suddenly like blow the doors off and be like, break records for debut shows, but I would suddenly become a god, you don't expect that.
Yeah. Well, I love that the story.
I can just keep monologuing, guys. You got to interrupt me with questions.
No, I want to hear it all. I love that the story was just a whole bunch of spontaneous things that happened. It wasn't that you're out there looking for it, because a lot of the times
I didn't audition. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you've done now quite a few shows. Decked Out was kind of the first major one that you were kind of the star of, but you followed that up with some other ones like Deck Wars and Custom Built and a couple others, whatever. What was your favorite one to work on? Is Decked Out kind of, that was the baby, or?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it was like Innocent Days, like it was, Decked Out was, it was just a blast. And we just had, like, no one expected this thing to be as big as it was. And most people don't realize that the team, they weren't casted either. So Joe, Dave, and Patrick are all my brother-in-law, like legit, working with me beforehand. And prior to the show getting approved, I had hired Katie off of, I actually like phoned Big Daddy Mike Holmes to ask for permission to hire Kate. And he was like, yeah, my blessing, and, but it wasn't for a TV show. She was just going to come work with me and my team. And then, so it was just organic. And it's been said that, everyone was like, it was like capturing lightning in a bottle. You couldn't put these characters together if you had cast it 1,000 times over. It just, the dynamic was just there because we were all legitimately like family. So like, the three boys are legitimately family. And then Kate was like my adopted little sister, so it was like, that's why the dynamic was so fun and so real and so childlike. And I think that's the part that we liked the most, is just the fact that people were watching something that was really people just doing what they're doing. There wasn't anything fake about it. We were like having fun and not taking ourselves so damn seriously. And I think that's the part that we're the most proud of. People are like, wait a minute, you moron built that? We're like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like I sketched it out on a napkin and like, look at it.
We're surprised too.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I was, like I said, I wasn't trying to compete with anyone. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just like, I like Lego.
Yeah. No, because you can't stick a bunch of actors in a room or separate people and have the kind of rapport that you guys had. You clearly have, like, you've clearly leg wrestled before with these other people. Like there was that dynamic there, right?
Oh yeah.
So Kate joined after the show started. Is that, or what's?
No, she was. We had ended up filming the first few episodes. I think she was in Thailand, and then she jumped in like on the. She was there. The third one we filmed actually ended up being the premiere episode. So that's the 5,000 square foot project where, I was like craning this pool over the house, like you do, and that was when. So Katie had started there, but she would have been there. As far as anyone else is concerned, she was there right from the beginning. But it was the third episode in that she can't come back and start working with us.
So why was?
And we all know that everyone just loves Kate. It's like just because Katie's Katie.
Kate's amazing.
You can't even be upset that everyone's like, "Where's Kate?" Like,
yeah. So, but why was Mike Holmes in your phone book?
Oh, so because I had done a number of forays into the TV world prior to Decked Out. So I had been on. I got called in a similar way to one of Mike's shows, Lean on Me, where he was, built an entire new house. And through the grapevine, they said we should get this Paul guy in to do the deck on the house. So I did. And I ended up, I had like a brochure because I wanted to show Mike and for my company. This is prior to television. I ended up going up to asking one of his friends to say, hey, do you think you can give this to Mike? He's like, oh, give me that thing. And he walks up and he hits Mike in the back of the head with the brochure for my company. Mike like turns around. I'm just like, what are you doing? You don't hit Mike Holmes in the back of the head with my brochure. Like you're going to ruin me forever. And he turns around and he's like, what's this? He's like, oh, good. No, I need a deck at my place. Yeah, it looks like you're good. All right, well, I'll talk to you. Next thing you know, I am building Mike's backyard oasis, and I became the first guy that he ever hired to do anything that he didn't do himself or have his crew do. And I ended up sitting around in his backyard, talking philosophy with him. We became friends. That was like, that's just unexpected and completely separate from me entering into TV. So then later on, when I did multiple shows like Homes Inspection with him, and it was completely separate from me starting my own show. So that's how I had his number.
Crazy.
You can't make this stuff up. It just happened.
Yeah, it's a good backstory to how this all came to be. Now, outside of, I don't know if Mike Holmes is this person or not, but did you have somebody that you looked up to as a carpenter? And nobody on your crews, but is there somebody that inspired you, or was this just your creativity was just in you? You never had to really be inspired by anybody else.
It's yeah, you know what? I think it's what I would love to be able to say. I have this one person that I always looked up to. I think it probably goes along with a lot of my philosophy from when I was younger, where so many people compare their artistic ability to somebody else, or wanting to become like somebody else, and attain somebody else's level. And since I was young, I've always just been like, I'm not trying to be anybody but just me. And I've had a lot of people, say to me that the design that I've come up with over the years, that had I gone to design school, I probably wouldn't have had the same level, because I would have been told somewhere along the lines that you shouldn't do it this way, or you're not supposed to do it this way.
Yeah,
for me, I am a 12-year-old kid going, what can we do now?
They would have stuffed you in a box for sure. Yep.
Yeah. And as much as I think that could be a cliche, I can't say that I was ever looking like I want to be like this person. I was just not wanting to be bored.
What about musically?
Oh, geez. Yeah. That's, I would love to have, Gord Downey's stage presence, which is another fun thing. Because in my new show, which I'm sure we'll talk about, I end up doing a Tragically Hip tribute concert in the show, which is Gord Downey is a huge inspiration for me. I love that man.
Awesome.
I've always wanted to be able to impact people in a way that Bono can impact people from a stage. Whether you're a YouTube fan or not. I don't know how this guy that's my height, wearing lifts in his shoes, with an Irish accent, can walk out and transform an entire stadium and get everyone to is, everyone singing Amazing Grace at the Rogers Center. I was just like, that's pretty intense, and yet just, you never hear about anything about the guy being, caught up in some weird thing behind the scenes. He looks like a guy that's just free of ego. And that always inspires me. Anyone,
or he has really good handlers.
Not walking around with a big ego that can have an impact. Always I find inspiring.
If the opportunity came to you to do kind of what you're doing with Dex, but in music, so if the opportunity came to do a big tour or do some sort of show that was around music and being in a band instead, would you walk away from Dex? Which is your bigger passion?
Oh yeah, I would. Well, because think about it. Like, I love this being a creative outlet, and like I said, I've been doing it for a long time, and I love the fact that I'm creating places of rest for people in a world that's gone crazy. But, there's only so many people you can impact at a time. Whereas, music has the ability to really transcend and cut cross borders, cross languages. It's amazing how a song can be remembered and impact somebody for the rest of their lives. If I'm still a musician. I've actually been working into the place that no one would ever expect. I'm starting to write rap and hip hop music, and I'm planning on doing some recording of that down the road. Weird stuff happens when you're at home with COVID. Your brain comes with weird ideas, but we'll see how that turns out. It could be terrible, but you never know.
Your Lego skills have probably improved in the last 6 weeks or so.
Oh, I built some crazy towers, let me tell you. Scaring the neighbors.
Now, for those people who maybe don't know, you've just launched a new show, and it's not on HGTV, so you got to do a little bit more digging, but you've launched a new show called Backyard Revolution, and this is delivered through your website. I think it's backyardrevolutiontv.com. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's a whole, this is a 2.5-year project that we just launched. And, when you do something differently, this is a real pioneering type of thing. So as much as I love Decked Out, Disaster Decks, Custom Built, and, any of the shows I did on TV, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller, and I think one of the major things that I always wished to have more of was the real stories of, like, the homeowners. Let's take an episode of Decked Out, for instance.
Absolutely.
There was always such a great story behind the homeowners, or stuff that happened during the filming. Whether it was behind the scenes stuff that we just had to cut that couldn't make a 22-minute episode complete, and that always bugged me. I understood, but it bugged me because I'm like, we used to call it killing puppies. It's like, if only we could have kept this scene or kept this part. Or there was this really touching moment with the homeowners, but it didn't fit into the format of this formulaic show. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud of all of those shows. Like, I really am. They're all like my babies. But I really wanted to be able to do something, particularly in this realm of reality reno TV, that had never been done before. And that is follow the same trend of how we're watching productions right now. If you look at how many A-list actors in the movie realm, that are leaving the silver screen to go do a television series, it's like an epidemic. More and more really well-known actors are leaving, where he or she can become this a much more developed character. Like, if you think about Carrie Matheson from Homeland, or Gregory House, or Louis Litt from Suits, like, you think about these characters, and what I love about those characters and what people love about those characters is that they are really good over here, and they're really terrible over here. They're flawed freaking humans, man. They're real people, and we love that, and it's showing because we're watching more series type television, and even more so than movies.
Do you think that's because everybody now has ADHD and we can't sit for longer than 30 minutes? And everybody's like, I want to watch an episode and then go do something else. Like
watch the next episode.
like watch the next episode. But it's like, it's easy to take a break, right? So people don't like to sit for 2 hours anymore. I went to the theater last month for the first time in 10 years.
Really?
I don't go to the theater. It's too much, but I watch TV lots. So
Right.
It probably has a lot to do with.
You can control it too, right? You can control it.
yeah,
It probably has a lot to do with the social media lens too. Everybody's on camera now, right? And we're watching the most amateur of recordings and unedited and just kind of realism
Like
happen
this.
through social media on our phones every day. So our expectation isn't anymore we don't even really desire the polished finished product as much as maybe we used to through the movies. So anyways, I watched the first episode of the show and I thought it was fantastic. I like that it's so real. I like that it's like, I was explaining to Bryce here, who helps us with the podcast all the time, that, the other shows are always so polished. People saw this 22 minutes of this monstrosity of a deck being built and they thought like, it probably took a week. And it's like, no, that's more like a year, maybe 2 years sometimes to actually pull it off. But you don't see any of the stuff that goes wrong. You just see Paul walking through the yard and saying like, we should do this, commercial break, framed, commercial break, decked, commercial break, walk through with the homeowner. And it's like, well, that went all really smoothly. And then, but in reality, you forgot to drain the hot tub, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, that's only the beginning. Wait till you see the rest of it. That's nothing. And I think that's the point. Are we getting an echo? I just want to make sure we're not getting an echo on this.
I think
Is anyone complaining about?
I believe it's your end because you're on speakerphone. I think it's probably.
I'm fine. I just saw someone say it's only echoing on the Instagram feed.
Yeah,
I want to make sure we're not irritating people.
If you can understand
I'm
us,
just being
we're okay.
concerned.
It's not echoing on the podcast recording. We're good here.
Good.
So.
Now, so here's the story behind DYR. So Backyard Revolution, I'm like, I want to film something that is decked out versus beach Deadpool is such a great way to describe it, because we're just pulling away all these things. We're taking the camera, we're turning it around, we're showing all the mistakes, and it's not just showing the mistakes that I'm making on the site. Because any deck builder, anyone in the building industry, they know damn well, like it's going to happen. Anyone who's like, I don't make any mistakes, we immediately be like, oh, okay, well, you're the one,
Yeah.
you're the super deck Jesus that we were all been waiting for, the Messiah. It's garbage. And, particularly when you're dealing with human beings, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with your crews, you're dealing with suppliers, you're dealing with all that stuff regularly. On my site, it's dealing with all that and me being me. And me being me could be a really difficult person to work with, because I'm like Peter Pan sometimes, to the point that like my right-hand man is being driven absolutely crazy because I'm wanting to do something creative, even if it doesn't make sense from a business perspective. He's there to help me, protect me from myself. I end up throwing $30,000 into a toilet, and you'll have to, you watch it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Demoralizing my entire crew, where they actually legitimately have to confront me. And this is not dramatized television.
Yeah,
it's really funny, but it's also really real.
Yeah,
because there are elements where I'm not happy. I'm actually really demoralized and really upset. And then it flips around, and it really takes it. It's the true roller coaster, as well as while doing this, trying to get ready for doing this Gord Downey Tragically Hip concert for a charity concert for raising money for cancer research. And I haven't sung in a while. My voice is shot. My hands are messed up, and this is terror for me. I don't have why did I even agree to do this? And I'm like, this. If you're a musician and you're nervous about the way your vocals sound and you want to get past that, the best thing to do is just say, hey, why don't I go take some vocal lessons and just have the camera follow me in? Because you never look more ridiculous than when you're taking a vocal lesson, because you're not supposed to sound good. And believe me, I sound like I'm being run, I sound like some sort of alien creature being run over multiple times by a truck mixed with a mutant cat. It's a mess. But there's just no hiding.
Yeah. So
that's the show.
Yeah.
And it's follows a story that is where people would be like 14 episodes in the same project. I'm like, yeah. In the same way that you are going to follow a story arc in a 14 episode series, you are not going to be bored watching this. Everything flows into the next. And I'm a picky person. This thing is, I am extremely proud of this. I like it better than any of the shows I've ever done.
That's amazing.
And that's a difficult thing for me to say. That's why it took 2 years to do, because I'm an anal, retentive, perfectionistic jerk sometimes. So.
There's a question I want to come back to with regards to this, but having said that, this is your most proud work. Is that because, do you have more control over this because HGTV is not involved and you're kind of more control of how the final product looks? And is that the reason you chose the format and the distribution model you chose on this, or what was behind that?
So a little later down the road, we're going to do another podcast where I'm going to share some of the secrets behind this show, because there's a big time secret about the making of Backyard Revolution that is an industry changer. Because no one's it's gonna blow people's minds when they hear this. So I'm keeping that. It's a little bit of a top secret bit of information right now. But yeah. So there was a quote that was made. The movie that won Best Picture this year was a movie called Parasite. Did you hear about that?
I've heard of it, but
sure you did. Yeah. Anyway, this movie won Best Picture. I watched the movie. I thought it was a fantastic film. But the quote from the director was, if you want something to be done the way that you want it to be done, you have to have that creative control. You have to have control over the editing. You have to have control over the filming. And I'm a filmmaker. I'm a storyteller. And when you're dealing with networks in the traditional way, you got a lot of really smart people. There's a lot of, it's like there's too many chefs in the kitchen. And they try, you can't have too radical of an idea because, people might gravitate toward it, but what about the people that don't? You might lose viewers. You might gain over here. You might lose over here. Yeah. So it can really end up being this vanilla type of formula that just stays the same. And an interesting example of that, someone has to take a chance on this, on something new. So it wasn't that long ago when they said flip shows never work. No one will ever want to watch a flip show. Next thing you know, there's 15 flip shows, and you're just going, can we watch something other than a flip show? Somebody had to take a chance on Decked Out to get that going. But the concept of saying, I want to do 14 episodes on one project was just like, woo, this is pushing people too far, too fast.
Yeah.
And so my options were to say, well, I'll just do the same stuff that I've been doing. But anyone who knows me knows I can't stay still. If I know that I wasn't happy before because I felt constrained, I got to push the envelope. And if pushing the envelope means, there's a reason why I wear a Millennium Falcon around my neck. Yes, I'm a Star Wars nerd, but it's more to it.
That was my guess.
Yeah, well, obviously, but there's more to it, and there's the story of George Lucas when he made Star Wars. He was mocked. They thought this was the stupidest thing anyone's ever made, and this is going to be the biggest bomb in the history of motion, in the history of motion pictures. Then it was a success. That's kind of like my Decked Out. The people are like, this isn't going to work. But Empire Strikes Back was when George Lucas went. He was denied. He got the industry that said it was all going to bomb. They didn't take that really well. They even fined him $350,000 for not having credits at the beginning of the movie. And everybody knows in Star Wars it was like that, and then it scrolled through like,
wow, okay.
That actually was breaking the rules. He wasn't allowed to do that. And they fined him $350,000 in 1977. That was worth a lot more money.
It's a few bucks.
And so he said, I'm going to go do this myself. I'm going to break the two rules. Number one, back in the day, you don't make a sequel to a movie, period. You sure as hell don't make a sequel to a sci-fi movie unless you're crazy. And above all, you sure as hell don't use your own money to do it. the rest is history.
Yep.
He bet the farm and won. That's Backyard Revolution. Not on the same scale, mind you, but that's the inspiration. I'm like, you got to be a little crazy to make a complete show, to do a complete 14-episode series, involve a bunch of companies, but fund the vast majority of it yourself, put all your eggs in one basket when you don't have a place that it's airing yet.
Yeah.
You got to be nuts.
Yep. It's a little bit different, the approach you took this one, for sure.
I'm nuts.
Paul, just to intersect for 1 second, is the volume on the phone that's recording the Instagram, is it all the way down?
It's as down as it can go.
Is it? Okay. I know it won't let you mute it completely, but that's apparently the source of the little bit of an echo that people are hearing, but we're good on this end.
Okay. I wonder if it'll help if I just go a little further away.
Possibly. Yep. Bryce is saying, yes, that's helping. So now, in the spirit of Backyard Revolution and what it's all about, do you recall what your most costly mistake would have been that you made in all your years of deck outing and everything else? Like, what was the one thing that you did or changed that really hit you hard in the bank account?
Well, I'd love to say that it was anything else, but it actually was on Backyard Revolution. Like, I'm dead serious. Backyard Revolution, I make a very ambitious decking design choice. And I want to do it my way. I want to be able to do something to do with board bending that no one's ever done before, that's only been seen in models, and I'm going to do it. Because why do you climb Mount Everest? Because it's there. And let's just say it does
because you left your wallet at the top, I think. Is what most people left something up there.
Well, let's just say that it is extremely funny to watch how badly this fails.
So what episode is that? Because the first episode's free for people to tune into, and then it's am I right that it's $9.99 for the rest of the episodes? Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's $9.99 US or something like that, and it's basically it's less than $1 an episode.
Yeah.
It's I think that it's in the storyline begins pretty much, I think, from episode 3 to that. Somewhere between episodes 3 and 7 is always this backstory, this saga of this attempt that I'm making.
It's a 5-episode mistake. That does sound expensive.
Yeah.
Dude. And my rule was, so it's kind of like, I'm not sure if you guys are Seinfeld fans, but like the Seinfeld rule was, when they were filming, was no lessons learned and no hugging. That was their rule when they made that show, right? They want to follow a different pattern. And I'm like a huge Seinfeld buff. And so the rule was, we are going to film this show and we're not going to hide anything, and so therefore when something's going wrong and this deck saga, this side story of what's happening with the decking, when I try to do this ridiculous thing, is just one of the stories. But there's some, it's funny because I'm seeing Mo up here from Apex, and he's my buddy. There's a major side story that involves me needing Mo to rescue me because of something else stupid that I did. and I like that, particularly as guys in the construction industry. I have 4 daughters, and my eldest daughter is about to graduate welding. She's about to become a badass 19-year-old welder chick, and I love that. I love that she's getting into the trades. But like, guys are terrified of looking like they don't know what they're doing. Yep. Of making a mistake, of being able to admit, that they don't, like, oh, nothing drives me more crazy than having a guy in my crew. And I say, you know how to do this? And he's like, yeah. And then you find out later he doesn't.
Yep.
I go, you just lost my respect. You tell me you don't know what you're doing, even though you were like, oh, this might make me look like I'm not that smart. Be like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I can learn. I'm going to be like, thank you for telling me the truth. Now I trust you. Now I know that you won't tell me something just because you're afraid of looking like you're not all that. And that's TV, right? You measure once, you cut once. We never make mistakes. We're construction superheroes. both. No, everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And I just think people like it when the truth is told.
I have a funny story about that. Back years and years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago, when I was still building at a Fresh Decks, I had a new guy that started with me, and maybe it was the first deck in, but certainly not the first day. We were probably about a week into it. Time to cut stair stringers, and I said to him, "Do you know how to cut stair stringers?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know how to do that.
Yeah,
I can
of course
figure it out." Yeah, I was like, "Okay, well, you go do that. I'm going to cut this curve in, and you go figure out the stair stringers." And so I'm sitting there doing my thing, and it's been a while, and he's still standing at the sawhorses, and he's still got a pen and paper out, and he's still going away, and he's cut nothing yet. I was like, "Are you doing okay over there?" Yeah, doing okay over there? Yeah, I think I got it. So I leave him for a bit longer, and it's like now we're like an hour in, and the framing square hasn't even made an appearance yet. And I'm like, "Are you sure you're okay? Do you need a hand?" He's like, "Well, like it should just be simple Pythagorean theorem, right?" And I was like, Let me show you. Let me show you the easier way to figure this out.
Simple Pythagorean theorem. Yeah. Everybody knows the Pythagorean theorem.
And he was like, "Do you use the cotangent?" And it was like, "No, dude. I use the frame. I use the stair gauges. Like, just put them on the framing square and let's get started."
Yeah. So anyway,
it's classic guy stuff, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And
too afraid to say I don't know.
I think guys are gonna like it because I don't blame a lot of guys. You know, when they've watched. You know, when they watch, particularly guys in the trades, when they're watching shows, you know, probably one of the greatest honors for me, you know, and, you know, we've had conversations before, you know, but it's a real honor for me is when guys come up and they're like, "I like your show because you don't come across like you're better than anybody or that you're trying to be like, I'm here and you're here. You see the difference, you know, and that's, for me, that's a huge, probably the best compliment I can receive because if guys in the trades are looking and going, "No, I like that guy because he's not walking around with this big ego." And, you know, and I said, I go, anytime, if any of this ever goes to my head, to my own, when you're surrounded by family and 4 daughters, it'll keep you humble. Trust me, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I have hair with 4 teenage daughters, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But when you can show, like, in Backyard Revolution, it is showing how liberating it is. And how the opposite is actually true. How you actually gain people's respect and gain people's trust when you're showing your humanity. You know, because it's not making mistakes is going to happen. It's how you correct the mistake.
Correct.
And the worst thing, and anybody in the business, if you're living on the planet, you're going to understand the statement. When somebody makes mistakes and says, "My bad," you're going, done.
Yep.
It's over.
Yeah.
The minute somebody's like, "Don't tell me I made a mistake," or "Don't look at me," or you don't like, "Well, no, you're trying to put blame on somebody else."
Yeah.
Then your perspective on that person changes. Am I right?
You're correct. 100% correct.
100%. We talk about that with our employees all the time too, right? It's just like,
just own it.
Just own it. It doesn't
own it.
I'm not going to fire you because you drove over a board. It's like, but if you drove over the board and then told me you didn't, but I saw you, it's like, well, then you've lost your job.
Yeah, exactly. And you've lost the job and respect. You lost it all.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got nothing left. Nothing left,
it's
Teddy.
amazing.
I know I had posted this question to Jenna before, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I had a question for you that was who is your dream team crew? But I'm guessing the easy answer is that's probably your decked out crew or your current crew or whoever you're not going to hurt the feelings of. But what I would like to,
but you wouldn't want. Nobody wants to work with Dave, right?
I want to rephrase this question a little bit, and I want to say of people you haven't worked with before. Sorry. Maybe you've worked with them, but they haven't been part of your primary crew. Is there like 2, 3, 4 people, maybe you've worked with another series or something like that you would consider part of your dream team crew, but it's not your decked out guys and it's not your Revolution guys?
Yeah, I probably, doing Home to Win and getting to kind of work along. Yeah, there's a pretty good pool there. I tell you, I don't know if that counts because we kind of did do stuff together. But so Sebastian Clovis is a really good buddy. We have a lot of fun, and he's a musician too, right? So we were always bouncing stuff off each other.
And a former Saskatchewan Rough Rider.
Yeah, man.
Right.
So, oh yeah, I know. Trust me, we've had I've had amazing insight into Sebastian when he was on the football field, and be like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't know you then because you were a lot angrier.
Yeah.
You know, that's what made him good. But you know, he's literally will send like I have a Sebastian like recording on my phone that I kind of feel bad because I haven't listened to it yet. I got to get back to him. He's awesome. If I was working with Seb and any combination of Tiffany Pratt or Danielle Brick, every time we work together, Danielle's done her own thing now, but I mean, see just how fun it is because she's so straight-laced, you know. So there's a dynamic working with her and Seb that would be a lot of fun. But working with Tiffany Pratt makes me look like a sane person, and that's hard to do. That's not an easy task, you know. She's just like, I mean, you can go blind just from the color of the clothes.
Yeah, it was like you just need to wear more vibrant colors, and you'd be fine. Right?
I know. I'm like, everyone's looking at her and not me. This is unfair, you know. Yeah. She's just a complete riot, laugh a minute. I'm always going to be drawn to these two authentic people, like people that are just, they don't take themselves seriously. They're just, you know, overgrown kids like me, and you know, legitimately in their day-to-day lives, in their day-to-day jobs, are legitimately like just enjoying the actual ability to impact people, and are legitimately still surprised when people come up and say, "Hey, can I have your autograph?" You know, it's like when, you know, they said the day that somebody ever comes up to me and says, you know, "Hey, Paul, you know, I'm a fan of your show," and trust me, this has happened in the most inappropriate places you can imagine, like taking my daughter into the emergency room and being stopped on the way through the doors because someone took them that long just to get the courage to come up and talk to me. But I was taking my daughter into the emergency room. But even then, I'm still like, even my daughter would be like, "No, Dad, the day you say no to someone is the day you're an a-hole." You know, and I'd rather not ever be seen that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, this question might be related a little bit. It might be the same answers, but on Home to Win, there's a good crew of people on there. Who would you consider to be your closest ally and your biggest rivalry with on that show?
Good one.
Yeah, start with a rivalry.
I think I kind of already named, like, yeah, allies. I like the way you dramatize this.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, very clever. Yeah, so I think, like, you know, obviously Joe and Dave and Katie are, you know, allies and family for life. So outside of that, like, yeah, like, yeah, how do you pick? What do I divide them into? Let's go right for the rivalry.
Speaking of building stairs, before you get there, speaking of building stairs, didn't Dave and Joey bugger up a set of stairs on one season? Didn't they wasn't there like an interior set of stairs that was supposed to come down and they messed it up and somebody gave them a hard time in the show? Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think it might have been just Joey, actually. It was his project and he buggered up the stairs.
Oh, like on a Decked Out episode, you mean?
No, on Home to Win.
Oh.
There was something, he mismeasured a stair landing or something, or went off plan or something. And somebody told him to stick to decks.
I'm actually having a hard time recalling that. Mostly because I erase people's mistakes from my mind.
Yeah.
He owned it, so it didn't happen anymore, right? Okay, continue
Joey's
on.
king of owning anything.
Yeah.
Joey could be like, I appear to have set off a nuclear explosion by accident. My bad. And you're just like, that's okay, Joey. Like, Joey's the king of owning any mistake he ever makes. He
might even own some of other people's mistakes.
Taught me how to own stuff over the years.
Yeah.
So rivalry, I'd probably say it's impossible not to have rivalry with Baumler and McGilvery, just because they invite it.
Yeah,
they're
they have
just there throwing down. Yeah, like the little bromance they've got going on is beautiful. I mean, it's the rose petals and the bubble baths. You know, it's fun. That's fun to watch. I don't know why I'm watching. That sounds weird.
Are you the only other guy in the room when this happens? Because
I'm like, I'm filming it. I'm the one filming it. Oh, that's weird. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I've said too much. God, please erase everybody's memory. Yeah, that's just you know. I think when you get a bunch of alpha males in a room, it's that's just fun to watch the dynamic, because I actually am a strong personality, but I'm not an alpha male. So, and so I think if there's ever alpha male stuff happening, it's one of those things where it's hard not to want to engage sometimes when you know they're drawing you into an engagement because it's fun and it's good television. But, you do have to be kind of aware. Oh, hang on a sec. I got to plug this phone in before it dies. That would be weird. 1 second. Oh, you still there?
We're still here. Yeah.
Are we still going?
We're still going.
there.
Man, that would just ruin the whole podcast, man.
You know what's I'm gonna preface this right now before it happens, Paul. But there's here it is right now. In 20 seconds, it's gonna kick you out of Instagram Live because there's a time limit. So I'll restart the video and then you'll have to rejoin it when that happens. The phone call will continue, but you'll just have to restart the video. Does anybody even come close to you as far as being a prankster on the set of that show, or are you the king?
No, I think that would probably be. Yeah, I think when I threatened everyone on the first time we did Home to Win, when I said if anyone comes in your carrying an ego, you're going to find eggs in your shoes, instantly quick. The first time we did Home to Win, if anyone
eggs in the shoes.
So we're gonna. I got kicked off here now, so we're gonna go.
Yeah, you're okay. We'll get it started back up. I'm just gonna make sure Bryce gets this saved here before we go too far, and then we can continue on that. But in the meantime, I think these will be the last kind of set of questions. I think people are going to want to know a little bit about the business side of things from you as well, because a lot of people that listen to this are contractors themselves, and they're always curious how everybody's doing what they do. So how do you kind of have things structured in your business? Like I know that your wife is involved in the business in some capacity. Like, are you quoting jobs? Do you have a designer that does the designs and an estimator does the quotes, or how is this all structured for you?
So the beauty now is the team that I've intentionally kind of shrunk my team down. I used to have like 16 crews on the ground, which was tiring, to the point that now
16 crews going at the same time.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
That was way back in the day when I thought that would be the way to do it.
Do you think that when
that was a nightmare? When
you had 16 crews, do you think that you made more money at that time?
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
I made less money, higher overhead, less money, more stress.
Isn't that crazy?
Don't do it.
So at one point I was a finishing carpenter. I was doing trim work in houses and stuff. And I had 10 employees at one time, and I was spinning my wheels. You know what I mean? I was just absolutely running from disaster to disaster. I was putting out fires everywhere. And at the end of the year, my accountant pulled me in and was like, "Okay, how did that go?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I felt like, I moved some big dollars around in my bank account." And he was like, "So let's look at this. You made less money this year than you did last year." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not interested."
You're like, "That's horrible."
I don't want to work twice as hard to make less money or 3 times as hard to make less money. So then as they started leaving for whatever reason, it was like, I quit because I'm going here. I just stopped replacing them. And it was like, he left and she left and another one left and was like, "Yep, all good. I'm now back down to being by myself."
I totally agree.
It was great.
Yeah. I think so do I go back to watch live video?
We're just trying to get it started again here. For some reason, the options, there it is. Okay, we're starting it right now, so you'll be able to
there we go.
join again in a second here.
Yeah, it's just so much work for little payoff, really, right?
Yeah, so now I will have so I have my project managers, and it's what's a method that's really kind of worked well is I still love going. I love going in and doing designs with my clients, like face to face. I didn't when I was doing the shows. I missed the times when I was able to when I was going in specifically to design. Sorry, my dad was phoning. I'm like, "Dad, leave me alone. I'm doing something, man."
Dad, I'm on Instagram doing a podcast.
Face to face contact. Yeah, I'm doing a podcast. Dad, leave me alone.
Get out of my room.
Yeah, get out of my room.
Mom, where's the meatloaf?
Oh, God. So so now I going back in and having face-to-face times with my clients where I've got the technical elements being handled. I got guys measuring laser elevations, doing all that, and just being able to stand in somebody's backyard and tell them what my vision is. And then I'll have the guys will end up, they'll go away, get all the technical elements put together, fire back all the design info to me, and then I can sit and design exactly what I pictured, because I think it's really important for everybody in any business to just get to the place where you're doing only what is your strength to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Get on the right seat on the bus on your company. If you're a people person and you're the design person, don't try to do the technical stuff. Get someone else to handle that does that stuff well. Are we going to try to get back on video here?
Yeah, we're live here again. So if you join in, you can hit the button and we can bring you on again.
I'm looking for that magic button again. Do I have to go back out and come back in?
Or scroll to the top of the comments, I think, is the other option.
Yeah, I don't see that this time. You have to send me your request, man.
I don't know that I have to do. You should. I don't know that I can do that. I don't see you in here though. Did you leave again?
So wait, I'm gonna leave and come back in. Then it says I've joined. Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah.
I'm sending you a request. Please
There.
let me in.
There you are.
Yeah.
I want to be on TV.
You may join the podcast.
I've been on TV a lot, but nothing beats being on a wallway.
Exactly. There we go. And we're back.
We're back.
Okay.
So now,
That was weird. I didn't know how to do it without a camera. I felt
yeah, you
uncomfortable.
froze right up when the camera turned off.
Bro,
right?
I was like, I don't know how to talk now. Yeah. So we were talking about business structure. So yeah. So now finding out what you camera work. Finding out what you're good at doing. If as you're building a company, as you're forming a company, getting to the place where you're doing what you're the best at, getting other people to do the things that they're the best at, finding out that mixture, will make your business not feel like a job. That's the best advice I could ever give. And sometimes that can take years to develop, but as soon as humanly possible, get out of doing the things that your brain is not created to do. I'm a real big personality type guy. Like certain personality types are created to do certain things. If you spend a lot of time doing the stuff you hate doing, it's going to affect the things that you do well. It's actually going to bring the stuff you do, your talents down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
And
because
so-
you start to hate the idea of your job even, right? So
Yeah.
for contractors, lots of contractors are awful at paperwork. They're not accountants. They're
Yeah.
builders, right? And so
I hate it. I hate paperwork.
it's
I hate
the worst thing, but guys build and then they go home and they do estimates and they do their paperwork and they try to do payroll and they end up hating their job. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's your job. You quit working the company you were working for so you could do the thing you love doing. Do the thing you love doing. So, yeah. Anyways.
Anyone starting a company, I would say every business book I ever read, I would burn them all and just tell everyone to read one book. And that book's called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Oh,
It's a big one.
it's so good.
That book will, I'm glad you guys immediately went like, yeah, because it
I had to
reads
use
like a
this
novel.
one because I don't have this one. So.
Wade gives it 1.5 thumbs up.
It's like 1.5 thumbs. I like it. That's good.
So we actually just
The,
discovered that book over the winter here, and it was perfect timing.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was perfect timing because we were about to open our second location, and
Yeah.
that book, man, hoo-wee.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been possible without it, to be honest.
Yeah, it revolutionized my company. But I do have the benefit. So my wife she's running the admin side of things because I would rather be in a ditch on fire than run the admin side of things
Mhm.
because that's not what I do well. And I not like I can't do admin. It's just that I hate it.
Yeah.
Just being honest, right? It's like I want to design, I want to create, and I want to build.
Yeah,
I love that. And that's the entrepreneurial myth. That's the E-myth.
Look at
Exactly.
You end up when you start a company, you end up now becoming the same person that is doing the marketing and the accounting and janitorial services.
Yeah,
You know, they're doing everything.
exactly.
And all of a sudden, you're like, this sucks. Why did I? It's so much easier when I worked for somebody else and I went home at 5 o'clock and then turned my brain off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to open this up right now. Holy smokes, hey?
Puberty.
God, man, doesn't matter.
Right there.
I
COVID alert!
just hit puberty at 39 years old. A couple people asked what the book name was. It was called The E-Myth. So look that up. It's on Audible, my preferred way of taking in books nowadays. But
there it is. Yeah.
I want to open it up to the people that are in here as well to ask Paul some questions as well. So feel free to punch those in. Bryce will take note of them, and then he'll put them in front of my face, and then I'll ask you them if people have some questions. But this is probably a goofy question, but everybody always asks everybody else this.
Mm-hmm.
What source of marketing works the best for you? Where do you get your leads from? I'm guessing for the most part, your name and your brand that you've built and your TV shows is probably still working for you. But are there other places you're finding that leads are coming from that you don't expect that work well?
Or even when you started? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think it would be better to go back.
The 16 crew days.
It's like, no, I don't have to do anything because people just call me because I'm like, what a jerk.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I think I found what didn't work fairly quickly. When it comes to selling a high end, product for the backyard, when you're transforming somebody's outdoor space, I found that home shows they didn't do well for me. And I don't know if times have changed. I found that just the success rate for the shows, other than just being in the community and being visible, but I just found that very few people walking around a home show with with 50 grand in their pocket, to start, to want to transform their backyard, and they're just going, where am I going to spend this big wad of cash? I'm like, hey, what about a backyard? Like, they're already thinking about it. People that, so I found that targeting places where people are already going to be looking, and the timing wise, I mean, it's just human psychology. All marketing is just understanding human psychology. Yeah. And, we're even trying to still figure that stuff out now with, like, how do you get people to buy a TV show that are used to just turning you on TV and watch for free? It's the same psychology of getting a lead for your company. It's kind of going, you have to, number one, bypass the fear that people are afraid of getting ripped off.
Yep.
This is, again, something that's in the show. If you watched episode 1, it's like my first plan of action is how to create a relationship with my clients in a way that is something, hi, Tracy, in a way that just attacks their fears right off the bat, And if you can tie that into your marketing somehow, it's a good idea.
We do that in the store. I do it immediately with customers. They walk in and it's like, what's your budget? And they're like, I'm not telling you my budget. It's like, well, I can't help you if you don't. And so, like, we have to do that. We have to talk about this right away. Otherwise, we're just going to waste everybody's time.
You probably shouldn't go. What you often say though is, hey, what do you got in your wallet right now?
What do you got in your wallet?
You could probably,
you want to trade? And then pull my wallet out and be like, want to trade?
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes it could be good for you and sometimes not so good. So
this story really kind of helped me sum it up. So Jen and I were down with the girls a few years ago in, we were on a Disney cruise, which was very fun, because they take your children away and let you drink, which is great. And
like Walmart.
Wait, what Walmart are you going to?
Wait, you should check out. Check out some Saskatchewan Walmarts. They're fantastic.
It's almost exactly like Disney cruise, Walmart. Yeah. You're exactly right. It's like it's one in 1A. So we were showing up. It was like terrible weather, and we ended up pulling up at this one port. So the only thing to do was to go into town with the high pressure sales people all waiting for you, just like vultures, right?
Yeah.
And so Jana's like, can you come with me? Because, my wife is just such a defender, like personality type. She's just like she's the worst negotiator in the world. They'd be like, she's like, how much for this plunger for the toilet? Like $200. She'd be like, oh, okay, I guess it's feeding some people somewhere. She's just not a negotiator.
Seems a little
so
high.
she says to me, honey, can you come with me? Because I just need you to run point for all these people that are going to look at me like fresh meat coming out of these stores. I'm like, yeah, baby, I'll show you how it's done. So we walk out. The first guy that walks up to me, says, hey, how you doing, man? Come into my store. Let me rip you off a little bit.
Okay.
And I was like,
think I'm going to go into this
I was
one.
like, that is the most unusual approach I have ever heard. I was like, what is your name? He's like, my name is Israel. And I'm like, you have my attention. What an ingenious way of being able to approach people.
What did you buy?
I spent $2,000 in the store on a necklace.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm going, and it was because the guy led was going, I know exactly what you're afraid of, and I'm going to put you on the thing that you are afraid of most, and that's getting ripped off.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm going to hit you with that right off the bat. And I saw the genius of it right away. He wasn't, because he was instantaneously respecting me about understanding what I was going to be wary of and not wanting. And I never forgot that. And so even when I'm talking to clients now, it's like, look, that question that you're talking about, somebody going, I'm afraid to give you my budget. I'll be like, look, I know I would approach it with a client like, now here's the money talk, and everyone hates the money talk, and it's just like, oh God, you're afraid to tell me how much money to spend because maybe I'll then go, oh, I can find that this is how much I can give you less for more because you threw your ace up your sleeve on the table, and now I know, and I'm like, it's like, I do not blame you for feeling that or fearing that, but if I don't have some idea, then I'm going to end up designing or creating something for you that you can't afford.
Yep.
And then what you are going to end up, what you can't afford, you're going to look at it and be like, instead of being like, wow, look what we have.
Yeah.
You're going to be going, oh, I guess we'll settle for this.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm the guy you want to give no limits to. Right?
Yeah. Why would I want to show somebody something that they can't have?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
get their hopes up and then crush their dreams.
And then they're spending their hard-earned money for something that is just like, oh, okay, I guess this is all we can do.
Yeah,
meanwhile, if they didn't see the other thing, they're going, this is amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. We have a question from somebody on the IG chat here, and if anybody else has questions, punch them in quickly because we're running out of time here for Paul. But the LED light guy asks, as a designer, what do you feel are the up-and-coming trends in the industry?
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that one.
Yeah, right.
Today.
So, and it's not.
You'd have two nickels.
In episode 3, in episode 3 of Accurate Revolution, as I'm here just shamelessly plugging my show.
Sure.
AccurateRevolutionTV.com.
Have you heard of the Ultimate Deck podcast?
Yes.
Probably.
We're all selling something,
Bang Energy, sponsored by Bang Energy Drink. We need a Bang sponsorship here too, by the way. So Bang.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something to sponsor. Sponsored by the Calvin of Age Sleep Aid, Melissa Dream. I just found it. It's very good for people that don't like sleeping. I have never opened the box because I my wife got it for me. Moving on. So
here, go to sleep.
Yeah. She's like, please, just for the love of God,
please stop talking. You have this.
Yeah. Yeah. For those that were here for the beginning of our 14-hour podcast. So the trends, I talk about trends at the beginning of episode 3. And what I'm talking about is how I don't believe in trends in the traditional sense. Because what a trend is something that's going to be popular today, and it's not going to be popular tomorrow. At some point in time, the August gold appliances and olive green appliances of the 1970s, somebody looked and went, damn, that looks good. And then a little while later, people went, if you don't remove those from your house, we can no longer be friends. Like it was, that to me is like an extreme example of trend. So I think when people are asking questions like that, it's more along the lines of how is the industry, what is the industry moving into that is going to be the mainstay from here on out?
Sure.
And, I think the guy who asked that question, he was a lighting guy.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the major ones. What is the point of building?
It's like he didn't know that. Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like clever. It's like he knew what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like we set that up beforehand, and he's going to give me $50.
Yeah.
To do something as our project without doing lighting that creates that different feeling at night, that completely different emotional response. That's the musician in me talking. Then you've made a terrible error. Just make sure you incorporate a nighttime feel as opposed to the big, the light that's sitting off the back of your kitchen porch heading into your backyard. That's not meant for that.
Yeah.
The composite, ultra low maintenance PVC. That's not a trend. That's just, you're an idiot if you don't.
That's here to
Why
stay.
would anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's here to stay. I think I'm starting to see a lot more decorative, like kind of one-stop shop or really quick abilities to make decorative privacy screens in a way that's really aesthetically pleasing, but without feeling like you just put the Berlin Wall up between you and your neighbor, where it's like, I like you, you're my neighbor. I'm going to build something in my backyard now. You're never going to see me again because I want my privacy. And it's this hideous wall. I love being creative with privacy walls. The one thing I'm starting to see a lot of is the pergola roofs, the louvered roofs. There's like the Structure or Equinox roofs like that.
Yep.
Now they're kind of early on. The price has got to come down because they're a little stupid expensive as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And that's coming from the guy who builds $500,000 decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a Scotsman. I'm still trying to I'm always still trying to save my clients money. I want them to get the best bang for their dollar.
Yeah.
But right now, there's nothing else in the market that can do that. If you can have it open and close and stop the rain, like the rain starts to fall and it automatically closes.
Yeah.
You can open it up. You can close it. It can take a snow load. That's pretty crazy. And you can do with it that, things that you can't do with, building something out of wood.
Right.
They're expensive for a reason right now. Hopefully the prices do come down over time, but they definitely are. They definitely introduce some outdoor room possibilities that weren't available before.
Sure. Yep. That's absolutely true.
I'm very proud of my on-the-spot answer to the trends question. I think I'm giving myself a gold sticker right now.
You weathered it pretty well. That is true.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, you've given us a lot of your time. I don't want to take any more of it. You've probably got things to do, and there's probably fans on your driveway with signs waiting for autographs and whatnot. So,
always.
It's the reality.
I'll just thank you. I know that the Decked Out series and HGTV as a whole really kind of changed this industry and kind of changed the box that people were thinking in when it came to their backyards, and really kind of started the growth of this outdoor industry that we're now benefiting from as a retail store that sells outdoor living products and whatnot. So awesome. I think for deck builders everywhere that are getting to do things a little bit more creatively nowadays, which is fun for them, they've got you to thank for that as well. So I appreciate your influence on the industry and your time you gave us today. And anything else? Wade, you got anything else to add? Paul, anything else to add?
What are you doing with your free time now that you're not doing trade shows? Like you don't fly to Calgary or Winnipeg or all these trade shows that you go to. I'm
renovating my own house.
Right.
There we go.
Is that why you had no drywall on the ceiling at the start of this? You showed the ceiling.
Right. Yeah. I finally built my master bedroom, which my wife was, it's been 23 years. I've been busy fixing everyone else's house, and then we moved up to Georgian Bay with my 4 daughters. So it was, we're just in a paradise kind of setting, 2 hours away from the city, which is I wish we had done this years ago. It helps with the teenage hormones, and but just actually not feeling guilty. So literally, I couldn't go anywhere. So I've actually been able to sit and be able to do a bunch of renovations inside the house.
That's what do they say?
Quarantine construction projects.
They always say
quarantine construction. Yeah.
Shoemakers. A shoemaker's kid go barefoot, right? That's what they.
I'm the classic. Well, I got on our next podcast, I'll tell some of those stories because they're fun ones. But I've been not doing home shows and not doing all that. This is, like I said, Backyard Revolution was a 2.5-year project which has taken up so much of my time to do with to make it to get it to what I wanted it to be. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what the guys and gals in the industry think about it. And I'm really wanting to hear the feedback from it. Just because you guys will know more than anyone else whether this really is authentic or real or not.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
And I'm looking forward to that. So I'm hoping that people will check it out.
So just a question on that real quick. Just a question. I've watched the free one. I haven't signed up for the rest of the episodes yet. Are they all posted right now, or are they going to trickle out on a schedule?
Like The Last Dance.
They are all ready right now.
There you go.
You can, the first episode is for free. You can check it out. Just, watch it and go, wow, this looks like it'll be good. Or watch it and be like, this guy's
trying to rip me off. I'm out.
Yeah, this guy's trying to rip me off. I'm tired of getting emails.
Yeah.
And so if you go on now, it'll, you basically first episode. And I think as of today, you can buy the entire series. This time next week, we'll have it available if you wanted to do it like a buck an episode and watch an episode at a time.
Gotcha.
That's $10. And you're supporting an insane person that wants to change the industry. And then, like I said, when you hear the secret behind the show of how this was done, you're going to understand why the name Backyard Revolution wasn't a mistake.
Plus, this guy blew $2,000 on trinkets on a cruise ship. So help him out. Spend the $10.
Yeah.
Backyard.
I got suckered in.
BackyardRevolutionTV.com. Paul LaFrance's new project and show you guys can check out now. It's up there. Check out the first episode. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed the format of it. I thought it was very, very well done. So I'm going to be spending the $10 to watch the rest of them. So people go there. Thanks, Paul, for joining us today. If you don't know, we're posting these things on YouTube lately as well now too. So that's a thing. So you can tune into this on any podcast platform or YouTube. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Brought to you by the Ultimate Deck Shop. Shop with us at www.ultimatedeckshop.com or check us out at all the social networks we can keep up with. Hit us up for any collaboration or sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.
Damn.